Okay, hi everyone. So today is a beautiful day. This is not where I'm actually am, but this is like a virtual background that I really love. This is like my dream place. Like if this is what my house would look like. So I thought it would be fun to record with this virtual background. We're talking about something quite, meditative, very sacred today. So, hence this beautiful background complements it. Um, so today I wanted to do a masterclass on forgiveness. And this was really inspired by someone who posted in a Facebook group that I'm in. And I thought, wow, I really saw the power of forgiveness and what that has done for my personal life. And also, in working with clients and just seeing how the process of forgiveness really frees someone up. So that's something that I wanted to talk about today. I wanted this to be like a full long thing for you just listen in. There will be parts where you resonate with, and maybe there are parts where you don't, and that's okay. So I invite you to just kind of take what you receive from it, and anything that doesn't resonate with you, you can leave that. And then anything that you have, like questions and any comments, anything that you want to reach out, feel free to find me on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. Yeah, and it's just at my name, Astasia Kara. Okay, so let's talk about forgiveness. And I will be sharing with you as well my story of my own path and journey of forgiving many, many people who have hurt me, including, friendships. Um, a lot of it was friendships, relationships with my parents, right? And also forgiveness with myself too. So let's get started. What is forgiveness and what is it not? So I think that a lot of the times, we think of forgiveness as it means like, I'm forgiving this person, meaning that I let go of blaming them or making it their fault, and now everything is fine and everything is good now. Like if somebody hurt me, I forgive them. Now it's fine. Like now we're all good. We're chill. Now we're like besties. Um, I think that's like one way of looking at forgiveness. There are also other ways of looking at forgiveness that doesn't directly relate to that outcome. There are so many ways, and I think forgiveness, the most important piece is that forgiveness is not so much about the other person, but it's more about yourself. So when we look at our own energy, our own emotions, our own like energetic being, our own emotional, like spiritual being, when we forgive another person, what we're really doing is we're actually changing our relationship within ourselves in relation to that person. So it's not so much changing that person or changing the relationship itself, even though that can be a byproduct. It's really at the root and at the core intention is that we are changing our relationship with ourselves in relation to that person, that event, that situation, etc. And so, why is it important to change our relationship with ourselves in relation to that thing, that person, that situation that hurt us? One of the best way that I can put this is when we don't forgive, we end up hurting ourselves in the long run. It's that saying goes where pain lasts in a moment, but suffering can last for a long time. Sometimes you cannot control or choose the pain. For example, if someone randomly comes and yells at you on the street, that's completely outside of your control. And in that moment, you're going to maybe feel some sort of like anger or like anxiety or stress, and that's considered momentarily like pain. Whereas suffering is if you allow that situation, that person to continue to affect your life because you're holding on that emotion, that energy, right? That situation, that person. So really forgiveness at the core is forgiving whatever that hurt you, that caused you pain, so that you can liberate yourself first and foremost. And that's really how I, practice forgiveness for myself, and how I guide my clients and anybody who works with me with the practice of forgiveness. So the practice of forgiveness is something that I got in touch with in 2018. I think growing up, we've heard a lot about like, oh, forgive that person for hurting you and this and that. But for me, I never understood forgiveness at a deeper level until I started going on my meditation journey. And I didn't realize how much pain I was carrying at that time. So my parents divorced when I was about 3. And growing up, I had faced a lot of bullying, especially in elementary school. So in 2018, I was, I think, like first or second year in university. And I was going through a major transition in my 5-year-long relationship at the time. And I had experienced a lot of bullying still in high school, a lot of like, gossips and mocking and just people like being really mean. So in 2018, it was kind of like this ending of a cycle for me. So I started going on a meditation retreat. It was a 10-day silent retreat. And that was when I really, really got in touch with what forgiveness meant. But it didn't come right away. Like it wasn't something where I sit down and I meditate and I'm like, I'm ready to forgive. It wasn't like that. What happened, and this is where I'm going deeper into the process of forgiveness. So what happened was I sat down, meditating for a couple of hours, couple of days, right? Just getting my mind really calm. And then I started to observe the things that were causing me pain all these years that I had never really looked at. Images of my parents, like it was images and emotions of my parents divorcing at a young age really started to affect me during my meditation sit. So I started crying and just like bawling my eyes out on like the 3rd day. All this emotion started coming up and I started to feel so much pain. And so this is actually the first stage of forgiveness, which is processing your emotions. A lot of the times, the reason why we cannot just rush to forgiving a situation or a person, or we cannot just suddenly forgive, is because there are emotions that we need to process. And it doesn't matter who you are. Every one of us experience emotions because we're all human. And so it's about having that awareness, like, okay, a lot of the times the thing is we suppress our emotions, right? So when we have the awareness and we know that we're feeling sad or angry, the first step is to really processing those emotions before you can go to the stage of forgiving someone or something. So I was sitting there, I was just like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, oh my God, I never knew like how much this affected me. I'm like, 20 something, and I'm just starting to realize how at the age of 3, this event literally affected me so much. And at that time, I was just crying and really processing like the sadness. Another situation that I was also processing simultaneously, and this is where I want to stay in that first stage, right? Which is emotional processing is I was processing a lot of the bullying that was happening in high school for me. There was just so many like disagreements, arguments, gossips. People made like a Twitter account about me, and like it was really, really bad. It got to the point where I was like, damn, like I want to just dig a hole and like go in there. So at that retreat, I was just really processing all of those emotions, like the anger, the sadness, the confusion. Why is this happening to me? Why are they doing this, and why is it this way? And I even linked it back to the bullying that I experienced in elementary school, right? And I was like, damn, like how come all my life it's been this way? And this is, I don't understand. And so I just sat there, I cried for so long. And finally, the next stage of this part after processing your emotions is when your emotions have calmed down, they have kind of left in a way, it's like a wave that comes and it goes. Once it has like calmed down and it's kind of leaving its turbulence, I'm now at the place of like calmness, and then I'm starting to see, okay, like this really affected me, this really caused me pain. The thing is, I'm not in contact with any of those people that have hurt me, except for my parents, of course. But I'm not in contact with any of the people from high school that have hurt me. I started to see that this is a pain that I am holding on to, like within myself. And whether they still think about me or they still think about that situation or not, it didn't even matter, because all I was doing was that I was holding on to this pain and I was making it feel right. In some way, the reason why I held to this pain, and maybe you can examine your own situation and ask yourself, why am I holding on to this pain, right? So one of the reasons as to why I held on to that pain was because it made me feel right. It made me feel like they were the bad people. They were the ones that hurt me, and I am right. I have the right to feel hurt. And I'm not saying that you don't. You definitely have the right to your feelings, and there's always a validating yourself. Here is where I feel like it keeps us stuck. And I'm not sure if a lot of this has been talked in therapy, because I know a lot of the times therapists talk about, really validating your emotions. 100%. And I think there's a next step, which is you can feel right for being sad, being upset, but then there is a stage where you can let that go. And you can move on, and you can start to manifest and create a new life that doesn't revolve around that emotion, that situation, and those people. So, so let's go more in depth about holding on to that pain. So there are many motivations and reasons as to why we hold on to certain kinds of pain. It validates us in some way. We feel right for something, and so we want to hold on to that pain because it makes us feel right. It validates our ego. And this is where we have to ask ourselves, right? Like, does this validate my ego? Or is this here to really help me evolve on my soul journey? And so when it validates the ego, it's like, okay, that feels good for like a little bit, but we gotta move on, right? So we have to really dig deep as to why we're holding onto this pain. And this is really the key of unlocking it. Because when I realized that I was holding on to this because it made me feel right, it validated the fact that they did something wrong and I was right. And that's when I realized this is the ego talking. And if I can let go of this, I can fully liberate from the situation and not feel and repeat this pain cycle anymore. And the thing is that the emotion of pain and whatever emotions that you associate with that situation, and if you keep holding on to it, it becomes your belief. It becomes the way that you see life. It becomes the paradigm, the glasses that you look through life. So here's an example with my situation. So for example, if I were to keep replaying this situation in my mind, saying, you know, I was right and they were wrong for hurting me, and I feel upset, I feel angry, I feel sad, and I just keep repeating that and I don't change it, then what ends up happening is that I started at the subconscious level building a belief that people are out here to hurt me, and I'm, like, there's this sort of repeating pattern. There's this kind of subconscious addictive repeated patterns of I want to feel upset. I want to feel upset at them for hurting me. And so what would happen if I keep allowing that situation to continue in myself is I would manifest that even more in other situations continually. So the key to this is to go within and ask yourself, why am I holding on to this? What is the motivation? How is it benefiting me to hold on to this right now? Because in a way, it benefited your ego or something, but it definitely doesn't benefit your heart or your soul, right? Because it is actually causing you pain. So once you identified that, the next thing that happens naturally as a byproduct. Now, forgiveness is not something that we have to force ourselves to forgive. Forgiveness it comes as a byproduct, as an outcome, as the understanding of the fact that we are hurting ourselves when we don't forgive. And so forgiveness happens as a byproduct, as an outcome of the awareness, the awareness that I'm hurting myself right now. I'm keeping myself stuck in this pain cycle. And by forgiving this situation, this person, whatever that I'm holding on to, I'm actually letting them go. I'm allowing myself to be free, and I'm allowing myself to create a different reality, a different paradigm, a different belief, a different way of being, a different life moving forward. And so forgiveness has that powerful effect and benefit to us. Forgiveness is not, this person hurt me, so I'm just going to force myself to forgive them because that's what I'm supposed to do. That doesn't really work. That's very surface level, and I've done that many times. So I'm not judging you if that is something that you've been taught or that you think that you need to do. I'm here to show you a different perspective. I'm here to show you a different process of forgiving that is not so talked about, right? Which is, forgiveness is not something that you force yourself to do, but forgiveness is a natural byproduct that happens when you have that self-awareness of how much is hurting you when you don't forgive. And so the next kind of thing that I want to transition to talk about is life after forgiveness. The thing is, I feel that life is naturally really, really beautiful, and a lot of the times it's our pain, our anger, our sadness that are really in the way, kind of blinding us to the natural beauty and wonders of life. So after forgiving, right, what happens is you suddenly feel your body feeling lighter. Your mind, your body, your spirit, it feels lighter. You feel that you're now opening up a space that allows in self-compassion, self-love. You're watering different seeds now. So instead of watering the seeds of anger and sadness and pain, which if you continue to do that, it's going to grow into a tree of pain. Look at this tree on this side. It's going to grow into that tree of pain, right? Whatever seed that you water, it's going to grow into that. But if you forgive and you clear the space, and now you have space to water other seeds of peace, of love, of caring, of compassion within yourself, to care for yourself, then you are watering these beautiful seeds that you end up, reaping at a later time. And even in that moment, you receive that love and that appreciation, that forgiveness, that internal peace within yourself. And that is really, really the greatest gift that you can give yourself. Forgiveness isn't a fast track to not feeling our pain. So sometimes I feel like people think that, well, if I just forgive, then I'm not going to feel the pain anymore and I'm going to be a good person and it's done and it's over with. Again, that is like a very kind of surface way that our ego looks at forgiveness because we don't want to feel the pain. But the truth of the matter is you do have to feel the pain in order to fully process the emotions that are actually keeping you stuck. Because forgiveness is not something that you do, but it's a byproduct of processing your emotion, of coming to the awareness of loving yourself and freeing yourself. So forgiveness is not this fast track of like, I'm just going to forgive and forget and this is done. It doesn't actually work that way. When you say that to yourself, when you do that, what you're doing is you're actually suppressing what needs to be felt, the pain, the anger, the emotions that needs to be felt. And that is not so healthy for yourself because eventually whatever you suppress is going to come up. So what I really suggest is if you're in the stage of, needing to forgive someone or something or a situation, liberating yourself from pain, it's really important that you allow yourself to process your emotions because that's actually the key. That's actually the key to forgiving. It's freeing yourself. Forgiving is really freeing yourself. It is not about the other person or the situation whatsoever. It is all about freeing yourself from within and really coming home to the spaciousness for beautiful seeds that you have inside of you. Another thing that forgiveness is not is you should never feel like you should forgive. Again, like I'm really a big believer in there's no forcing, you shouldn't have to force yourself to forgive somebody. Because when you're forcing yourself to forgive somebody, it means that you're forcing yourself to not look at your painful situation, to abandon yourself. You're not allowing yourself the space to really listen to your soul, your heart. You're not really allowing the space for yourself to listen to what is going on within you. So, suppressing and abandoning yourself and in a way like shoving things under the rug is so-called, right? Or just like turning a blind eye to it. It doesn't work because it eventually comes up and it actually stays in your body. And what ends up happening is you're actually creating more layers on top. So here's how you're creating layers if you're doing this. So let's say the pain happens and you're saying, I have to forgive this person. I have to forgive this situation. I feel like I should. I feel like I'd be the good person. I feel like this is right for me. I have to do this. But then you're going at it from the approaches, I'm forcing myself to forgive. So what ends up happening is you're not processing your emotion, you're bypassing the process, and you're creating another layer, which is, I don't deserve to feel seen and heard by myself. And so you're ignoring yourself, you're abandoning yourself, and this is creating even more distance in your relationship with yourself. So really, I'm going back to the key of all of this is that you do need to process your emotions. Now, I know processing your emotions is not always the easiest thing to do. It sounds so much easier said than done, and I really can understand that. A lot of the times we maybe even think, I've processed this already. Why do I have to process it again? Or like, I've cried so many times already. Why do I have to do this again? Sometimes emotions are really deep, we are deep human beings. Our hearts is so deep, and so sometimes, let's say a pain that has been there for a while, for years, it's not just one cry or two cry that you're gonna be done. Sometimes it's multiple times, and sometimes it carves at a deeper layer, and that's the purification process, right? So allowing yourself to process your emotion, giving yourself time and patience, and not being hard on yourself, like, oh, I should have been over this already, I should have been done with this already. Like, it's okay. It's okay that it takes time. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and you're doing an amazing job. So, what I really encourage you to do is, what processing emotions can look like is you can journal and allow yourself to cry or to get angry if you feel anger. You can meditate and observe yourself. That's usually my way of processing things, is that I allow myself to sit down, calm my nervous system, and then I meditate and I observe what is coming up, what are the thoughts, what are the emotions, what are the images, and how do they make me feel. And I just observe myself. And if I cry, I love crying, by the way. Like, crying is my favorite way of processing emotions. So if I need to cry, I just cry and I let myself cry. If you follow me on social media, sometimes I cry for like 3 hours, and I'll post like a picture after a pile of just tissues. So, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad and upset. And know that once you allow yourself to really process all your emotions, the next piece and the next step is really liberating. It's seeing that in you deserve all the love, all the compassion, all of the kindness from people around you, from yourself, and you start to water those seeds. And forgiveness happens as a byproduct. This was so amazing. Thank you so much for watching this mini masterclass with me. I'm so happy. My heart feels so full from sharing this teaching, this insight, and all the things, the wisdom that I've collected over the years of, forgiving my own pain, my own situations, the people in my own life, and myself. I'm just so grateful that I'm here to be sharing this with you. Something too that I want to say is this is a process that we do time and time again throughout our lives, right? So the better that we get at just being so compassionate with ourselves and really showing ourselves the love that we deserve, the more graceful this process is going to feel for us. Because a lot of the times we cannot control what outside circumstances, events, or people are going to do. And we can't say that life is going to be easy, right? From birth to death. Like, it's sometimes very, very challenging. But the process of being compassionate with yourself and watering the seeds of forgiveness and peace and love after you've processed those hard emotions is that this process becomes more graceful. You become more graceful with yourself. Life becomes, in a way, very nurturing, right? You're nourishing yourself. You have so much love for yourself. Life feels better even when it's hard. So I love you so much. If you have any questions about this, feel free to message me on Instagram or Facebook. If you have any questions, feel free to do that as well. Message me if you have any things to share. My inbox is open to hear you. And if you'd like to go deeper with me on this process or anything else, my private coaching is always open and available. I have different options at different time. So it really depends on when you're watching this. So the best thing to do is to check out my page, see what offers are available. You can always message me and just ask for something custom if that's what you want. I do a lot of customs for different people. So sometimes somebody just want like a 1 or 2 sessions with me, and that's totally perfect. And sometimes people want a 3 to 6 months together, and that's perfect too. And sometimes people want like a more group setting. So whatever it is that your heart calls, you can DM me, you can message me, and we'll do anything custom for your own needs. Other than that, I love you so much. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And I hope that you got what you need out of this video, this session with me. And best of luck. Bye.